Robin with Big Doodle Dreams, and this sweet baby that I've got with me is Freckles. And Freckles is a Moyenne-sized poodle, so a registered standard, but a Moyenne size, so going to be a medium-sized dog. I expect him to probably finish at 30 pounds. He's still a baby. He still has all of his puppy teeth, so he's still going all that fun nippiness and all of that, you know, those stages. But as you see, I've named him Freckles, and that is because of all of his fun spots. And he has big spots and little spots and spots on the inside of the ear and all over on the outside of his body, and then even under the white, he has it up and down his legs. So he carries something called the piebald gene. And I know that you've heard of the term party because lots of times, you know, poodles will be referred to as a party colored poodle, meaning two colors. But if you were to look at the genetics of the dog, they don't call it the party gene, it is the piebald gene. And that piebald gene is something that they speak about in many other breeds, not only of dog, but in species. So snakes, birds, fish, it's not just mammals, it's many, many other types of animals, so not just mammals. But the piebald gene is another one of these genes that is responsible for that hearing loss that we see when we're talking about the color genetics. And in the first video, I talked about the Merle gene, and you know, because my experience with Merle gene, you know, you really have to be careful with what you do. Well, that's just one part of that hearing loss. Actually, the breed with the most likelihood of hearing loss is the Dalmatian, and that has to do with that piebald gene and having not enough black pigment in their coat, not enough black in their ears, and this is where that development comes in. Those dogs that have a pink nose, pink eye rims, pink lips, they are at a higher likelihood of that hearing loss, that deafness that I've referred to. And you have to be very careful when you're breeding this piebald gene, because if you breed it over and over and over and over again, you wash it out, and inadvertently you will keep, you know, some breeders may end up keeping this solid white dog because they think it's the most beautiful dog in the litter, and you know, they really liked the look of it, and it's just, unfortunately, it's lack of education and knowing and understanding that lack of pigment can also impact your hearing and your vision. And so this guy, he's been tested. He sees my son in the background. He says, "Can I go now too?" "Yeah, you can go in a minute." But he's been health tested, and not only is he clear for all of those genetic diseases that I've talked about in one of the earlier videos, but you know, he's also not an extreme white piebald gene. So there's different levels of this gene. A dog can have a single copy and not even show any impact, meaning it can be a solid black dog, but yet still breeding wise carry that piece, meaning if bred to another dog that is solid but also carries it, they can produce the party color. So party does not mean be afraid of, it just means have that realization, think about it in the back of your mind. You know, are the parents both white? You know, is there a risk of hearing loss? But going back to it, the Dalmatian, 30% of them have either unilateral or bilateral deafness, and which is deafness in either one or both ears. And if you're breeding Dalmatians, what a lot of breeders will do is they will intentionally have the BAER, the BAER. It is a specific electrode testing done after the puppies are 3 or 4 weeks of age, and you know, breeders that are impacted by that at a higher rate, as Dalmatians, even Bull Terriers. There's a lot of breeds that are impacted. I couldn't believe the list when I started reading. But, you know, the breeders that are impacted at that level, they'll actually have that test done on the puppies just to ensure that they don't have that problem. So he's fine. He does not have the extreme white piebald gene. the extreme white, he probably would have only one small patch on him. And typically on the extreme white, they would not have color on their head, and they would not have color on the bottom of their tail. So he's not an extreme white, and his genetics reflect that, which is really awesome. And he's also not a dilute. As you see, he is actually black and white. So some dogs, their colors will change, and that has to do with a whole nother genetic piece. But the piebald gene, and you know, just to sit and think about some of the different breeds. You know, poodles have this. Obviously, they run a risk. Somebody breeding too many, you know, going for that strong white pattern. Your Scottish Terriers, it's a solid black dog. More recently, they're trying to breed them and make them party and make them white. And they've, of course, encountered the problem. Your American Bulldogs, your English Bulldogs, your Corgis, Border Collies, Australian Shepherds, Old English Sheepdogs, Dachshunds, Dobermans, Rottweilers. Rottweilers is a different gene. They're trying to figure it out completely. But a lot of these situations are where the standard color, black and rust maybe is the standard color. Suddenly the breeder is trying to breed those lighter colors in to get in a resulting pattern, making it different and unique. And by doing so, you run the risk of having other issues. So please be aware if you are purchasing a dog that is more than one color and is more white. Look at the parents, look at behavior, start asking questions, find out if they know what they're doing. You know, are they just breeding two dogs together because, gee, they look like a really great pair of dogs? That's not a good idea. But, you know, certainly there's ways around it to avoid having a dog with a hearing issue. And with really good breeding, you shouldn't run that risk. So, but be aware, it's not just the Merle gene. No, see, it's a party. The piebald gene, the black and white, the brown and white, anyone that has more white with some spots, be aware, you run the risk of having that hearing loss. So this is part 2, and I have one more part, and the genetic piece on it is really interesting. So subscribe to my channel, guys.